There was a time I believed my marriage was built on solid ground. It was not perfect, no marriage ever is, but it was strong, dependable, the kind of love that withstands time. At least, that is what I told myself. That was before I learned the truth. Before I realized that the woman I trusted with my life had been keeping secrets. It started with little things, small shifts in behavior that seemed harmless at first. Jennifer had always been on her phone, but lately, it was different. She was glued to it in a way she never had been before. And it was not just scrolling through social media or answering work emails. She kept the screen angled away from me. If I walked by, she would lock it and set it down face first. A few times, I caught her smiling at a text, only for her expression to turn neutral the second she noticed me watching. Then came the late-night bathroom trips, always with her phone in hand. When I asked about it, she laughed it off. "Just checking something real quick," she said. The explanations seemed reasonable until they weren't. Her routine started changing. Jennifer left the house earlier than usual, claiming she had morning meetings. She stayed out late, blaming traffic, even though I had driven the same route that morning and knew it was clear. She bought new clothes, dresses that were more form-fitting, heels higher than she used to wear. When I asked, she brushed it off. "Oh, these? I've had them forever." And then there was the perfume. Jennifer had always worn the same soft, floral scent. But suddenly, she smelled different. Muskier, heavier, like something meant to leave an impression. The kind of scent you wear for someone new. Maybe another man would have ignored it. Maybe someone else would have convinced themselves they were imagining things. But I was not that man. And then, the moment that changed everything. It was a Sunday morning. Jennifer was in the shower, her phone resting on the nightstand. It buzzed once. Then again. I glanced at it, just a quick look. I hadn't meant to pry. But when the universe throws something in your face, you either look away or you face the truth. The screen lit up. Unknown number. Miss me? 2 words. That was it. But they were enough to make my stomach drop. My grip tightened around the coffee cup in my hand. My heart pounded in my ears. Miss me. Not who is this? Not stop texting me. No confusion. No dismissal. Just familiarity. Who the hell was texting my wife like that? Why was an unknown number? Had she deleted the contact? Or was she being careful, making sure there was no name attached, no trace left behind? I sat there, staring at the screen, my mind racing. The air felt thick, my breath slow and measured. The longer I looked, the angrier I became. I was not the kind of man to ignore the obvious. I was not the kind of fool who would sit back while my wife made me look like one. I grabbed the phone. My fingers hovered over the screen before tightening into a fist. I wanted to unlock it. I wanted to see everything. But I knew Jennifer. She had a passcode. Still, I tried. I swiped up, typed in a few guesses. Wrong. Locked out. The water stopped running. The shower door creaked open. Jennifer was coming out. I did not move. I sat on the edge of the bed, her phone still in my hand. My grip tightened as I listened to her footsteps on the tile. A few seconds later, she stepped into the bedroom, wrapped in a towel, another one twisted around her damp hair. Water dripped down her collarbone, her shoulders. Then she saw me. She froze. Just for a second. A flicker of something crossed her face, something quick, almost imperceptible. But I caught it. A moment of hesitation. A split-second calculation. She knew. She knew exactly what I had seen. Jennifer recovered quickly. She let out a soft, almost amused laugh and shook her head like I was being ridiculous. "Oh my God, babe," she said, her voice light, dismissive. "That is probably spam." Spam. That was the best she could come up with. My fingers curled around the phone, knuckles whitening. She really thought I was that stupid. I did not react right away. I just looked at her, studied her. The way she shifted her weight slightly. The way her fingers gripped the towel just a little tighter. She wanted me to believe she was calm, but I could see the tension in her posture. "Unlock it," I said, my voice level. "Steady." Jennifer sighed dramatically, rolling her eyes. "Seriously?" I said nothing, just waited. With a groan, she walked over, plucked the phone from my hand, and turned it away from me as she tapped in her passcode. Too quickly. "There," she said, flipping through her messages. "See? Nothing. But I did see. I saw how empty the screen was. The way she scrolled through the messages too fast. The way she lingered on certain conversations before swiping past them. Because it was not there anymore. She had already deleted it. She thought she was careful. She thought I would take one look at the blank message screen and let it go. She had no idea who she was dealing with. I stood up, not saying a word, and walked out of the room. If she thought this was over, she was dead wrong. This was just the beginning. I went downstairs to the kitchen, putting space between us. I needed to breathe, needed to think. The coffee machine whirred as I poured myself a cup, though I was not sure why. Maybe because I needed something to do with my hands. Maybe because I did not trust myself to sit still. Upstairs, I heard Jennifer moving around. No rushing. No fumbling through drawers to hide evidence. That meant one thing. She thought she had covered her tracks. That was the worst part. She was not afraid. She was not worried about what I had seen. She was confident. She believed she had already won. That was the kind of liar she was. She did not just react. She planned. I took a sip of coffee, though it tasted like nothing. My mind raced, running through every little moment from the past few months. The late nights, the new perfume, the secretive glances at her phone. I had ignored it before. Convinced myself I was overthinking. Not anymore. Footsteps on the stairs. I did not turn around right away. Just listened. Measured. A few seconds later, Jennifer walked into the kitchen. She had gotten dressed, jeans and a sweater, hair still damp but brushed. She moved like nothing was wrong, like this was just another morning. But her eyes flicked to me, testing the waters. I said nothing, just leaned against the counter, arms crossed, watching her like she was a stranger in my own house. She sighed, like I was being ridiculous, then went to the fridge. Opened it, pulled out the orange juice. Twisted off the cap with a little more force than necessary. "Are you really mad about that text?" she asked. Her voice was careful, too careful. Just the right balance of exasperation and patience, like she was talking to a child throwing a tantrum. Like I was the unreasonable one. I did not answer. She shut the fridge harder than she needed to, set the juice down with a loud thud. "Already told you," she said. "It was probably spam. Or a wrong number. You're acting like I did something wrong." I kept watching her. She was good. Too good. No stammering, no hesitations. She had said all the right words in all the right ways. But she had made a mistake. She had reacted too quickly upstairs. The second she saw me with her phone, she had already been in damage control mode. Now, she was trying to flip it on me. I did not take the bait. I let the silence stretch. She fidgeted, just a little, but I caught it. Finally, she sighed again and rubbed her temple, like I was exhausting her. "Look, I get it. It looked weird, but I do not even know who that was. I deleted it because it was stupid." She said it easily, too easily, like it was the most natural thing in the world. But I knew what I had seen. I had been married to her for 7 years. I knew when she was telling the truth, and this was not it. I placed my coffee cup down, slow and deliberate. "Unlock your phone again." Her body tensed, just for a second, barely noticeable, but I caught it. Then she rolled her eyes. "Are you serious?" I just held out my hand. For a moment, something flickered across her face, annoyance, hesitation. Then, she let out a sharp little laugh and pulled her phone from her pocket. She turned the screen toward me, unlocked it, and handed it over. "Go ahead," she said. "If you do not trust me, look for yourself." She was too confident, too smug. That told me everything I needed to know, because there would not be anything to find. I took the phone, scrolled through her messages. Nothing. Checked her call log. Clean. Email. Normal. Even the recently deleted messages were wiped. She had already erased everything. I handed the phone back, keeping my face neutral. "There," she said, slipping it back into her pocket. "Happy?" I did not answer. I just studied her. She was not fidgeting anymore. Her shoulders were loose, her expression blank, like she had already decided this conversation was over. Like she had won. And maybe for now she had. But I was not done. I grabbed my jacket and slid it over my shoulders. "Where are you going?" Jennifer asked. Her voice still had that edge of irritation, like I was the problem here. "Out." I walked past her, ignoring the way she huffed behind me. Because now, I knew for sure, Jennifer had something to hide, and I was going to find out what it was. I got into my truck, turned the key, and let the engine rumble to life. But I did not drive. Not right away. Instead, I sat there, gripping the steering wheel, staring at the house I had called home for 7 years. The house where we had built a life together. The house where, until this morning, I believed everything was normal. Now it felt like a stage set. The white shutters, the flower bed she had planted last spring, the porch swing she had begged me to install, it all felt fake. Like a backdrop to the performance she had been putting on for months. Maybe longer. My mind was a mess of questions. Who was texting her? How long had this been going on? How had I not seen it sooner? I knew I would not get answers sitting here. So I put the truck in drive and pulled onto the road. I was not sure where I was going. Just needed to move. Needed space to think. My first instinct was to call someone, maybe my brother, maybe one of my buddies. But what was I supposed to say? Hey, I think my wife is cheating on me, but I do not have proof because she is too damn good at covering her tracks? No, I needed to be smarter than that. I needed to catch her slipping. I drove for what felt like hours, letting the road stretch out in front of me while my mind kept circling back to her phone. She had wiped everything clean. That much was obvious. But no one was perfect. People always left something behind. I thought back, piecing things together. Jennifer was careful, but she was not obsessed with her phone. She was not one of those people who check their messages every 2 minutes. That meant there had to be another way she was communicating with whoever this was. A second messaging app? A hidden account? A secret phone number? Then like a slap to the face, it hit me. Her laptop. She never used it in front of me. Always claimed she preferred her phone for everything. But I knew for a fact she had one. It sat in our office, barely touched. Had she been using it to cover her tracks? A bitter smirk tugged at the corner of my mouth. If she had made a mistake. Because while her phone was locked up tight, her laptop, that was a different story. I turned the truck around and headed home. Back to the scene of the crime. When I pulled into the driveway, Jennifer's car was still parked in its usual spot. Good. She had not gone anywhere yet. I stepped inside, moving like everything was normal, kicking off my boots with just the right amount of casual ease. The last thing I needed was for her to suspect anything. She was in the kitchen, sipping her coffee, eyes locked on her phone like she had not just been caught covering her tracks. She glanced up when she saw me. That was quick. I shrugged, keeping my expression unreadable. Did not feel like being out. She nodded, uninterested, and went back to scrolling. Perfect. I walked down the hall and stepped into the office, shutting the door behind me. Her laptop sat exactly where I had last seen it, closed, untouched, collecting a fine layer of dust around the edges. I opened it and pressed the power button. The screen flickered to life. No password screen. I clenched my jaw, my pulse kicking up. She was careful about her phone, but did not even bother locking this. She really thought she was smarter than me. I opened her browser. Nothing unusual. Her regular email? Clean. No suspicious messages. No unfamiliar names. Then I checked something else. A second email account. One I had never seen before. My stomach nodded as I clicked it open. The inbox was nearly empty. She had wiped most of it, just like her phone. But she had missed one. A reply from her. From him. I miss you too. I stared at those 4 words, my vision darkening at the edges. The email was from 3 weeks ago. No subject line. No extra fluff. Just those words. I miss you too. Too. That meant he had said it first. That meant this was not one-sided. That meant Jennifer had been doing exactly what I feared. I exhaled slowly, my fingers tightening into fists. I clicked over to her sent folder. Empty. She had deleted her messages right after sending them. But she had made a mistake. She had not emptied the trash. I opened it, and there they were. A full chain of messages. Weeks worth. As I read them, my stomach dropped. This was not just some meaningless fling. This was not a one-time mistake. Jennifer had been planning something. With him, I scrolled faster, scanning her words, piecing together the truth. She had met up with him at least twice. Once for coffee, once at a hotel. She told him she still had feelings, that she missed how things used to be. And then the worst part, a message from 3 days ago. I do not know how much longer I can keep this up. He is starting to suspect something. I inhaled sharply, gripping the edge of the desk. She knew. She had felt my suspicion creeping in. She had seen the way I watched her, had caught on that I was not buying her excuses anymore. And instead of coming clean, instead of stopping, she had doubled down, kept sneaking around, kept lying, kept choosing him over me. I slammed the laptop shut, my pulse hammering in my ears. I was not sure what I was going to do next. All I knew was that Jennifer had no idea I had found this, and I was going to use that to my advantage. She thought she was in control. She thought she had covered every track. She had no idea what was coming next. Keeping my poker face, I let out a slow breath, pressing my palms against the desk. My breathing was too steady, too controlled, like my body was forcing me to stay calm. The rage was still there, bubbling under the surface, but I was not going to lose control. Not yet. Jennifer thought she had one. Thought she could keep feeding me her lies until she figured out her next move. But now I had her. I knew about the emails. I knew about the meetups. I knew about him. And the best part? She had no idea I knew. I took one last look at the laptop before shutting it down completely. No need to delete anything. If she had not checked the trash folder by now, she was not going to. She thought she was careful. Thought she had erased every trace. But she had slipped. And now I had all the leverage. I had two options. I could walk into that kitchen right now, throw the laptop on the table, and demand she tell me everything. Let her scramble, let her stammer out another excuse. Maybe she would even tell the truth, though I doubted it. Or I could wait. Let her keep lying. Let her think she was still winning. Let her dig herself even deeper. I already knew which one I was going to choose. I straightened up, flexing my fingers, rolling my shoulders like I was shaking off a bad dream. Then I opened the office door and walked out. Jennifer was still in the kitchen, still scrolling through her phone. She looked up as I entered, her expression carefully blank. "Everything okay?" she asked. Her voice was too casual, too smooth. I gave her a small nod, forcing my face into something neutral. Yeah, just needed to check something for work. She did not question it, just turned back to her phone, sipping her coffee like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. I was not suspicious anymore. I knew. Now I knew. The next few days were a test. I wanted to see how long she would keep up the act, how many more lies she would tell. So I played along. I did not push, did not ask about the text again. I acted normal, maybe even too normal. I kissed her goodbye in the mornings, sent her random messages during the day, made small talk over dinner. And she leaned into it. She smiled more, laughed at my jokes, rested her hand on my arm when we sat on the couch. It was all part of her act, her way of smoothing things over, making sure I did not suspect anything. If I had not seen those emails, I might have believed her. But I had seen them, and every time she smiled at me, every time she kissed me, every time she told me she loved me, I saw the truth behind her eyes. She was still lying, still covering her tracks, still planning something. And I needed to know what. I did not have to wait long. That Friday night, she told me she had a work dinner. She said it casually, like she was not feeding me a pile of bullshit. "We are meeting with some clients," she said, pouring herself a glass of wine before dinner. "It will probably run late, so do not wait up." I leaned back in my chair, swirling my own drink. "Where is it at?" "That Italian place downtown. You know, the one with the big wine list." She had an answer for everything. Quick, effortless, like she had rehearsed it. And maybe she had. I nodded slowly, watching her. "Sounds nice. Who is going?" She hesitated, just for a second. Then she forced a light chuckle. "Just the usual team." She was slipping. She did not give names, did not offer extra details. Because there was no team, there was only her and him. I held her gaze for a moment longer, then took a sip of my drink. "All right, have fun." She smiled, relieved. She thought I had let it go. She thought I had believed her. She had no idea that as soon as she walked out that door, I was going to follow her. Because this time, I was not waiting around for answers. This time, I was going to get them myself. The performance. I sat on the couch, watching her through the reflection of my phone screen. Jennifer was meticulous, every move practiced, every detail perfected. She picked the black dress, not the casual one she wore to dinner with friends, not the business casual outfit she wore to work functions. No, she picked that dress, the one that clung in all the right places, the one she used to wear when she wanted my attention. She was dressing for someone, all right. And it was not me. She took her time with her makeup, leaning close to the mirror, carefully tracing her lips with that soft pink shade she knew I liked. She adjusted her earrings, smoothed a hand down her dress. Then she grabbed her purse and turned to face me. I will probably be late, so do not wait up, okay? She said it lightly, like it was no big deal. Like she was not standing in our home, lying to my face. I kept my expression neutral, my voice even. Sure, have fun. She lingered for a half second, her eyes searching my face. She wanted to see if I would push, if I would ask more questions, if I suspected anything. If I did not, I let her walk out the door thinking she had won, thinking she had fooled me. She had no idea that the moment I heard her car start, I was already grabbing my keys. I waited exactly 30 seconds before heading outside, sliding into my truck. I kept my headlights off until I was far enough down the street. She had no idea I was right behind her. The truth in red brake lights. She drove normally at first, heading toward downtown, taking the route that led to the restaurant she had mentioned. For a brief moment, I wondered if I was wrong. If maybe, just maybe, this really was just a work dinner. Then at the last second, she switched lanes. Took a different turn. Not toward downtown. Somewhere else. I felt my stomach twist as I followed, keeping a few cars behind, careful not to get too close. Jennifer had always been good at deception, but she was not good at this. I watched her brake lights glow red at a stoplight, my grip tightening on the steering wheel. My heart was steady. My breathing was even. I was not nervous. I was not panicked. I was angry. She drove for another 15 minutes, taking roads I knew well. Roads that led away from the busy part town. Roads that did not lead to restaurants or client meetings. Then she pulled into a parking lot. Not a restaurant. A hotel. I pulled into a lot across the street, parking behind a line of cars. From here, I had a clear view of the entrance. I turned off my truck, gripping the wheel, my eyes locked on her. She sat in her car for a moment, like she was checking her phone. Then, finally she stepped out. Her heels clicked against the pavement as she walked toward the entrance, her dress hugging her in ways that used to be just for me. And then, as if the universe wanted to twist the knife even deeper, the hotel doors slid open, and he stepped out. Tall, dark hair, clean cut, wearing a suit like he owned the damn world. Jennifer smiled the second she saw him. A real smile, the kind I had not seen in years. He leaned in, kissed her cheek, murmured something against her ear that made her laugh. And just like that, every lie, every excuse, every fake apology she had ever given me disappeared in the wind. I sat there, gripping the wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. I had my answer. There was no denying it now. No more questioning. No more hoping I was wrong. Jennifer was having an affair. And now, she was about to find out exactly what happens when you betray the wrong man. The hotel was the kind of place where secrets thrived. The kind with sleek glass windows and a doorman standing under the awning, tipping his hat to guests who wanted to remain unnoticed. A place designed for meetings that did not happen in boardrooms. I clenched my teeth so hard my jaw ached. I pulled into a spot across the street, parking where she would not see me. Then I watched. Jennifer did not get out right away. She sat there for a moment, checking her phone, probably sending some last-minute message, letting him know she was here. Then, finally, she stepped out. She smoothed down her dress, adjusted her purse, glanced around. And then, right on cue, a man stepped out of the hotel lobby. Tall, well-dressed, hair neatly styled, and familiar. Her ex, the one from the emails. The one she had been telling, I miss you too. The one she had been sneaking around for. I clenched my fists so hard my nails bit into my palms. Jennifer smiled at him. Not just any smile. The kind that made her whole face light up. The kind that was not forced, was not polite, was not for show. Then she stepped closer, and he rested a hand on her lower back, guiding her toward the entrance. Like it was nothing. Like she was not my wife. Like I did not exist. I sat there, gripping the steering wheel, my knuckles turning white. My entire body coiled tight, my pulse hammering in my ears. I could get out right now. I could walk across the street, call her name, watch her face crumble as she realized she had been caught. But that was not enough. Jennifer had spent months lying to me, erasing messages, planning secret meetings, pretending to be someone she was not. She had spent all this time thinking she was careful, thinking she had gotten away with it. She deserved worse than just getting caught. She deserved to lose everything. So instead of getting out of my truck, I grabbed my phone, opened the camera, and started taking pictures. Click. Jennifer's hand brushing against his. Click. Her laughing at something he said. Click. The two of them stepping inside the hotel together. I did not stop until they were gone. Then I lowered my phone, exhaled slowly, and let the rage settle. Because now I had everything I needed. Now I could destroy her. And the best part? She still had no idea. I sat in my truck long after they disappeared inside, gripping the steering wheel, breathing slow and deep to keep the fire inside from burning too fast. I could have stormed in there, could have marched right up to the front desk, demanded to know what room they were in, pounded on the door until Jennifer came face to face with the wreckage she had created. But that would have been too easy, too quick. And Jennifer did not deserve quick. She deserved to feel this, to feel every ounce of betrayal sinking into her bones. She had spent months carefully crafting her lies, weaving a web around me, hiding her tracks, thinking she had won. But now the game was mine to play, and I was going to make her pay. I took another breath, forcing my hands to unclench before I picked up my phone again. The photos were not enough. No, I needed more. I needed undeniable proof. I scrolled through my camera app, flipping to video mode, angling my phone just right to capture the entrance of the hotel. And then I waited. The minutes passed, slow and heavy. Cars rolled by. People came and went. And then, movement. A man in a dark suit walked out of the hotel. Jennifer's ex. Alone. I zoomed in, watching as he pulled his phone from his pocket, scrolling through something, looking far too relaxed. I hit record. He lingered outside for a few minutes, pacing a little, then walked toward the parking lot. My pulse kicked up. Was he leaving? Was she staying? Then, just as I was starting to wonder if I had miscalculated something, Jennifer appeared. She stepped out of the hotel, brushing her hair behind her ear, scanning the area like she was making sure no one was watching. I was. She walked over to him, and I zoomed in, the camera capturing everything. She did not kiss him. Not here. Not in public. But the way she leaned in close, the way her hand rested lightly on his chest, the way he looked at her, it said enough. I kept the camera rolling as they spoke. Their conversation was short, less than a minute. Then they separated. He walked toward his car. She walked toward hers. And just like that, the scene was over. I stopped recording and stared at my phone. Time to strike. I watched as Jennifer slid into her car, adjusted the mirror, then drove off, heading back home like nothing had happened. Like she had not just destroyed our marriage. Like she had not just handed me every weapon I needed to ruin her. I waited until she was far enough ahead before following, careful, patient. I was done playing defense. Jennifer had spent months lying to me. Now, I was going to lie to her, acting the part. By the time I pulled into the driveway, Jennifer's car was already parked. The house was dark, just the soft glow of the kitchen light shining through the windows. She was inside, moving around, setting the scene for another lie. I stepped out of my truck, inhaled once, let the tension leave my shoulders, then walked inside like nothing was wrong. Like I was still the fool she thought I was. The second I shut the door, she called out from the kitchen. "Hey, babe, you are home early." Her voice was light, easy, like she had not just spent the last 2 hours sneaking around with another man. I walked toward the kitchen, keeping my pace even, my expression neutral. She was at the counter, pouring herself a glass of wine. Her makeup was still perfect, not a hair out of place. No guilt in her eyes, just a woman who had perfected the art of lying. "Yeah," I said casually, tossing my keys onto the counter. "Got bored, so I just came home." She turned to face me, sipping her wine, studying me over the rim of the glass. Testing the waters. "How was your night?" she asked. I let a small, lazy smile slip onto my face. "Good. Just relaxed, caught up on some shows." A lie. One of many to come. Because if Jennifer could lie to me with a straight face, then I sure as hell could do the same. "How was dinner?" I asked, keeping my voice smooth and easy. She exhaled, rolling her eyes playfully. "Ugh, exhausting. Just a lot of shop talk, you know. I swear, these people never stop working." Lie. A well-practiced one. one she had probably told 100 times before. But now I knew. She kept talking, spinning a web of meaningless details: who was there, what they ate, how the conversation dragged. I listened, watched, memorized every single word. Because soon, very soon, I was going to tear her world apart. But not yet. Not tonight. Tonight, I would let her feel safe. Let her think she had gotten away with it. Let her believe that everything was still in her control. Because the real destruction, that was coming soon. She finished her drink and stretched, letting out a small sigh. "I'm exhausted," she said, setting her glass in the sink. "Gonna take a quick shower and head to bed." I just smiled. "Yeah, go ahead. I will lock up." She walked past me, pressing a soft kiss to my cheek, lingering just long enough to sell the illusion. Then she disappeared upstairs. I waited. Waited until I heard the water running. Waited until I knew she was comfortable, off guard. Then I pulled out my phone, opened my gallery, scrolled through the photos I had taken outside the hotel. Her with him, his hand on her back, the way she leaned into him. Then I opened the video, hit play, watched the way they spoke, the way she looked at him. That was not the look of a woman who had made a mistake. That was the look of a woman who had already decided. She was not hesitating. She was not questioning. She was choosing him. I exhaled slowly. The message that would ruin her. I pulled up Jennifer's number, attached the pictures, the video. Then I typed, "You left these out of your little work dinner story." Thought I'd help fill in the blanks. I hovered my thumb over the send button. It would be so easy. One press, and everything would come crashing down. She would come running down those stairs, wild-eyed, panicked. She would stammer through excuses, try to lie her way out of it, try to salvage whatever she could. She would realize that she had lost. But that was not enough. Not yet. Jennifer had spent months lying to me. If I sent this now, it would all be over in one explosion. And I wanted her to burn slower. So I did not send the message. Instead, I saved the photos and videos to a backup drive, locked them away where she could not touch them. Then I deleted them from my phone. For now. Because this was not about catching her. This was about destroying her. I played the long game. The next morning, I kissed Jennifer goodbye like I always did. Told her to have a good day. And she smiled. Told me she loved me. Like she had not just walked into a hotel with another man. Like she had not erased messages, spun her lies, chosen him over me. She thought she was still in control. That was the best part. I kept it up for days. Stayed calm. Stayed patient. And in that time, I prepared. I gathered everything. Our bank accounts. I checked every dollar. The house. I contacted a lawyer, found out exactly what I needed to do to keep it. Her phone records. I got access. And there it was. More messages. More calls. More proof. She was not stopping. She was not even slowing down. She was planning something. And that was when I realized she was not just having an affair. She was setting up her escape. The escape plan she did not know I saw. Jennifer had been careful, but not careful enough. There was one email she had not deleted, one she must have forgotten about. A rental application for an apartment, a one-bedroom, signed by her, not us. Her. She was leaving. She was waiting for the right moment, waiting until she had everything set up, and then she was going to walk away. Not just from the marriage, from me. She was not going to confess. She was not going to ask for a divorce. She was going to ghost me. And that was when I decided how this would end. I sat there, staring at the screen, the final piece of proof sitting in front of me. Jennifer had played her game. And now was my turn. I was going to let her think she was winning. Let her think her plan was still in motion. And then, right before she made her move, I was going to ruin her. Because Jennifer thought she was the smartest one in the room. She had no idea who she was really dealing with.